Captain Maya Chen watched Earth grow larger through her shuttle viewport, its blue-white surface peaceful and serene, entirely unaware of the death sentence hanging above it. The weight of first contact pressed against her chest like a physical force. The Temunitu ultimatum played on repeat in her mind. 30 days to prepare for a battle humanity could not hope to win. Her neural implant chimed with an incoming transmission. Admiral Takahashi's weathered face appeared as a hologram beside her seat. "The Security Council is assembling," he said, his expression grave. "They're calling it the Survival Summit. You'll brief them directly." "They won't believe me," Maya replied, her fingers unconsciously brushing the data crystal containing her sensor logs and neural recordings of the Temunitu encounter. "Make them believe, Captain. I've reviewed your service record. Titan Uprising, the Callisto Defense. You've faced long odds before." Maya almost laughed. "With respect, Admiral, this is different. The Temunitu have conquered thousands of worlds. Their technology exceeds ours by centuries, possibly millennia. And yet they offered a challenge instead of immediate conquest," Takahashi mused. "That's the detail that interests me most. Why bother with ritual when they could simply obliterate us?" The question lingered as Maya's shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere, friction flames licking at the hull. Something about the Temunitu's rigid adherence to their challenge protocol nagged at her tactical mind, a potential weakness hidden within their overwhelming strength. The Survival Summit convened in the underground chambers beneath New Geneva, a facility designed to withstand nuclear attack, but certainly not the weapons Maya had witnessed. 73 world leaders gathered in person, the remaining connected via secure quantum channels. The room buzzed with fearful speculation until Maya stepped to the central podium. 48 hours ago, my ship encountered an alien fleet at the edge of our solar system," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "They call themselves the Temunitu." She transferred her neural recordings to the chamber's holographic system. The vast room dimmed as the alien High Commander materialized above the assembly. The creature's exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian, compound eyes reflecting a kaleidoscope of conquered worlds. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "This is Korzath, Supreme Commander of the Temunitu Dominion," Maya continued. She played the telepathic message, carefully filtered to avoid the neural trauma her communications officer had suffered. The assembled leaders watched in stunned silence as visions of planetary destruction and methodical conquest unfolded before them. "They've given us 30 days before the challenge. A ritual combat that determines whether we become their subjects or another extinct species in their archive," Maya concluded. "Their technology outclasses ours by centuries. The Chinese premier stood first. Then diplomatic negotiation is our only option." "They don't negotiate," Maya replied firmly. "They conquer." "Perhaps surrender terms," began another leader. "There are no terms," Maya cut in, bringing up additional footage. "These are the Arcturus beings. They surrendered immediately." The hologram showed humanoid creatures laboring in vast mining operations, neural control devices fused to their spines. "This is their reward." The chamber erupted in panicked crosstalk. Maya waited for it to subside, studying the faces around her. Some showed resignation, others denial. A few, too few, displayed the calculating look of minds already seeking solutions. The American president approached the podium. "Captain Chen, you faced them directly. In your professional assessment, do we have any chance at all?" Maya weighed her words carefully. Outside the hardened facility, winter sunlight bathed New Geneva in golden light that might not shine much longer. She thought of her sister's children playing in Singapore, unaware their future hung by the thinnest thread. "The Temunitu have never lost a challenge," she said finally. "But they've never faced humans before." She brought up star charts showing the Temunitu conquest path through nearby galaxies. "Look at their battle history. Every conquest follows the same protocol, the same strategies, the same formations. They've mastered war but forgotten adaptation. They expect us to fight logically, conventionally. A slow smile formed on Maya's face as the seed of an idea, a dangerous, desperate idea, took root. And that, she said quietly, may be the one advantage we need. Dr. Naoki Ishikawa slumped back in his chair as the holographic cellular simulation collapsed for the third time. The Temunitu biological sample, retrieved from residue left on the Intrepid's hull, defied conventional analysis. His lab at the International Xenobiology Center in Kyoto hadn't emptied in days. Researchers caught sleep in shifts as the world's countdown continued. The cellular structure is changing, his assistant Dr. Layla Nasser observed, adjusting the quantum microscope. It's like it knows we're watching. Naoki nodded grimly. Adaptive biological encryption. Their very cells are programmed to obscure their function from outside observers. He stepped to the window overlooking Kyoto's ancient temples juxtaposed against the city's gleaming skyline. 3 Temunitu scout ships hung in the stratosphere above Japan, visible as ominous dark specks against the blue sky, silent observers placed over major population centers worldwide, a reminder of humanity's new reality. We need a different approach, he muttered. These cells want order. Let's give them chaos. He returned to the sample chamber and made a surprising adjustment, introducing random electromagnetic pulses to the containment field. The cellular structure began oscillating wildly. "What are you doing?" Layla asked, alarmed. "Testing a theory." Naoki increased the randomness of the pulses. The cells responded by trying to reorganize into their perfect geometric patterns, but each random pulse forced them to restart the process. Within minutes, the sample destabilized completely. "They can't adapt to true randomness," Naoki whispered. "Their biological programming requires predictable conditions to maintain homeostasis." His secure terminal chimed with an incoming transmission from New Geneva. Captain Chen requesting an update. Naoki sent his preliminary findings with a hastily typed note. Their greatest strength may be their greatest weakness. They require order to function. Maya received Naoki's transmission while navigating the political minefield of United Earth Defense Headquarters. The facility buzzed with frantic activity, military strategists from former rival nations working side by side, united by existential threat. She approached the central planning table where General Santos directed the positioning of Earth's meager defensive assets. The holographic display showed the solar system with Temunitu positions marked in red, a web of surveillance and power that made conventional military victory impossible. "Captain Chen," Santos acknowledged without looking up. "Here to tell me more about how we can't win conventionally." "I'm here with Dr. Ishikawa's latest findings," she replied, transferring the data to the main display. "The Temunitu biology suggests a critical vulnerability." Santos studied the information, his weathered face betraying nothing. Interesting scientific curiosity, but hardly actionable intelligence. We need ships, weapons, not theories about alien cellular structure. With respect, sir, we need both. Maya brought up her own analysis. Every conquered species in the Temunitu records fought according to recognizable military doctrine. They all lost because the Temunitu have perfected counters to every logical strategy. And you suggest we fight illogically? Santos scoffed. "That's not a military strategy, Captain." "Isn't it?" Maya challenged. "Guerrilla warfare, asymmetric conflicts, psychological operations. Human military history is full of victories that defied conventional logic." Before Santos could respond, the facility's alarms blared. The tactical display showed a Temunitu vessel breaking from its observation position, accelerating toward the asteroid belt. "They're moving on Ceres colony," reported a tactical officer. Santos barked orders for intercept vessels, but Maya studied the Temunitu ship's trajectory with growing suspicion. "Sir, this doesn't match their established patterns," she said. "Every previous action has been calculated, deliberate." "Maybe they've decided not to wait 30 days after all," Santos growled. "No," Maya countered. "They're testing us. watching how we respond to an unexpected threat. She pointed to the defensive formation Santos had ordered. If we react predictably, exactly as military doctrine dictates, we're playing into their analysis. Santos hesitated, torn between protocol and Maya's insight. What do you suggest instead? Something they won't anticipate. Maya quickly outlined a counterintuitive response, leaving Ceres seemingly undefended while secretly evacuating its population, setting up sensor ghosts to simulate continued human presence. Let them think we've abandoned an outpost out of fear, she explained. Feed them false data about our response capabilities. You're suggesting we deliberately sacrifice strategic position to mislead them. Santos looked incredulous. I'm suggesting we start thinking beyond the constraints of traditional military response, Maya replied. The Temunitu expect us to value strategic assets in predictable ways. Let's show them humans don't follow the expected script. After a tense moment, Santos nodded curtly. Implement Captain Chen's recommendation. Let's see how these aliens respond to a bit of human unpredictability. Former Major Kai Riveret traced a finger along the jagged scar running from his temple to jaw, a permanent reminder of the resource wars that devastated Central America a decade earlier. Through his cabin's reinforced windows, the Sierra Madre Mountains stood silent and indifferent to the alien threat looming above Earth's atmosphere. The military stripped your citizenship, Maya said, sliding a tablet with Temunitu battle formations across the weather-beaten table. But Earth isn't just governments, it's every human being. Kai studied the holographic display with practiced eyes. These formations are too perfect. During the resource wars, we faced Brazilian drones with superior targeting systems. We defeated them with smoke grenades and reflective chaff. Crude, but it confused their sensors because they were calibrated for efficiency, not adaptability. That's exactly what we need. Maya leaned forward. Not military doctrine, but guerrilla innovation. Why me? Kai's dark eyes bore into hers. There are others who fought in the resource wars. Because you won when you shouldn't have, Maya replied simply. And because you understand that sometimes survival requires abandoning conventional thinking entirely. Hours later, Kai's secure terminal alerted him to an incoming transmission. Source unknown, encryption beyond military grade. A woman's face materialized in his holographic display. Kai Rivera, Captain Chen speaks highly of your unorthodox approach to warfare. The woman adjusted her glasses. I'm Dr. Amara Okafor, quantum physicist. Or I was, until the scientific community decided my theories on disrupting hive mind communications were impossible. Kai's expression remained neutral. And now? Now the impossible is orbiting our planet. Amara's image was replaced by complex equations and schematics. My quantum entanglement disruptors were designed to break coordinated swarm intelligence, like those used in advanced drone networks. The Temunitu telepathic field operates on similar principles, just vastly more sophisticated. You believe you can disrupt alien telepathy with a theoretical device that's never been built? Kai asked skeptically. I believe, Amara countered, that conventional physics says we can't. But conventional physics also said the Temunitu method of faster-than-light travel was impossible. Yet here they are. Before Kai could respond, another signal intruded. A young Asian man with a shaved head and neural interface sports visible at his temples. Fascinating conversation. The newcomer interjected. Mind if I join? Who the hell are you? Demanded Amara. Jin Park. I architect, former Defense Department contractor, until they decided my algorithms were too unpredictable for military applications. Jin's smile didn't reach his eyes. I've been monitoring your communications. Captain Chen is assembling quite the team of outcasts. You hacked a military-grade encrypted channel. Amara looked both impressed and concerned. The encryption was predictable. Jin shrugged. Just like the Temunitu battle strategies. Maya stepped into view of Kai's camera. I didn't plan this convergence quite so soon, but since we're all here, humanity needs people who think beyond established parameters. The Temunitu have conquered thousands of worlds by exploiting the predictability of conventional warfare. So what exactly are you proposing? Kai asked. Operation Wildcard, Maya replied. A battle strategy designed to introduce maximum unpredictability into a conflict where we're technologically outmatched. She outlined the conceptual framework. Earth's conventional forces would engage as expected, while their small team implemented targeted chaos, random attacks, false retreats, communications disruption, and decentralized command structures that made human forces appear disorganized, yet devastatingly effective. The Temunitu expect a logical defense focused on protecting population centers and strategic assets, Maya explained. What if instead we make seemingly irrational sacrifices that position us for devastating counterattacks? You're proposing we deliberately appear incompetent, Jin realized, while actually executing precisely calculated chaos. Military command will never approve this, Kai warned. It contradicts every principle of strategic warfare. They don't need to approve what they don't officially know about, Maya countered. Admiral Takahashi has authorized a special contingency operation with minimal oversight. We'll operate parallel to the conventional defense. The conversation continued late into the night. Four minds from vastly different backgrounds converging on a strategy so unconventional it bordered on madness. Yet as they refined the concept, a fragile hope emerged. Perhaps humanity's chaotic, adaptable nature might be the one thing the perfectly ordered Temunitu could not comprehend or counter. There's a phrase from ancient warfare. Kai mused as dawn broke over the mountains. Fortune favors the bold. In this case, Maya replied, fortune may favor the unpredictable. The abandoned lunar mining facility Hylia Station stood as a monument to humanity's previous ambitions before the Temunitu arrival reordered global priorities. Maya's team had transformed its cavernous main chamber into a chaotic war room with holographic displays showing real-time Temunitu movements and simulations of Operation Wildcard running continuously on quantum processors. Dr. Amara Okafor knelt beside her prototype quantum disruptor, making microscopic adjustments to its entanglement matrix. The device hummed with unstable energy, occasionally emitting blue-violet sparks. The range is still limited, she explained as Maya approached. Maybe 5 kilometers in vacuum. We'll need to deploy these units close to their command ships. How close? Maya asked. Amara's expression tightened, suicidally close. Across the chamber, Jin had modified an old mining mech into a makeshift neural immersion pod. Inside, a volunteer pilot, Lieutenant Sarah O'Keefe, navigated a virtual simulation of Temunitu defensive formations. Her movements appeared random to observers but followed Jin's chaos algorithm, a flight path so unpredictable that even Jin's AI couldn't anticipate her next vector change. She's the best, Jin informed Maya, as Lieutenant O'Keefe's virtual ship penetrated another Temunitu defensive screen, reaching a critical target before the simulation terminated. 5 pilots washed out. Their brains couldn't override trained patterns. Sarah is different. Her neural mapping shows unusual connections between intuitive and logical processing centers. We need at least 6 qualified pilots, Maya reminded him. Jin nodded toward a waiting group of candidates. 3 more show promise. The rest, he shrugged. Their minds are too orderly. Kai entered from the converted cargo bay where he'd been drilling his special forces team. Sweat darkened his shirt despite the lunar facility's cold environment. How's tactical preparation coming? Maya asked. They're unlearning everything they know, Kai replied with grim satisfaction. Traditional special forces training emphasizes economy of movement, conservation of resources, clear objectives. My team is learning to fight with deliberate inefficiency. It creates unexpected opportunities. He handed Maya a tablet showing combat simulations. We've developed attacks that appear to fail spectacularly, but create brief windows for critical strikes. The Temunitu won't anticipate sacrificial tactics employed with mathematical precision. Maya nodded approval, and moved to the central command station, where Admiral Takahashi's encrypted transmission awaited. The Admiral's hologram flickered into existence, his expression grave. "The Security Council is proceeding with conventional defense preparations," Takahashi reported. "General Santos has full authority. Your operation remains classified, designated Contingency Omega." "We need more resources," Maya pressed. "Dr. Okafor's disruptors require rare isotopes, and Jin's neural training program." "You'll have what I can quietly divert," Takahashi interrupted. "But be aware the Temunitu have increased surveillance. Their probes are scanning all lunar operations." As if triggered by these words, alarms blared throughout the facility. Jin rushed to the security station, fingers flying across interfaces. "Temunitu probe approaching from the southern quadrant," he announced. "Estimate 3 minutes until scanning range." Maya accessed the exterior cameras, revealing a metallic ovoid gliding across the lunar surface, its surface rippling with sensor arrays. If it detected Operation Wildcard, their element of surprise, their only advantage, would be lost. "Engage countermeasures," Maya ordered. "Dr. Okafor, power down the disruptors. Jin, activate the simulation screens." The team scrambled to implement their prepared deception, holographic overlays transforming their unconventional preparations into the appearance of standard military operations. Dr. Okafor's quantum disruptors disappeared beneath false flooring, while mining equipment rose to take their place. "Shouldn't we evacuate?" Amara asked, securing her prototype. "No," Maya decided. "A sudden exodus would trigger their suspicion. We continue working, playing the roles of conventional military personnel conducting standard preparations." The probe hovered outside the main viewport, its sensors penetrating the facility's walls. Maya felt the familiar telepathic pressure as it scanned not just the base but their minds. She activated her neural damper, a device developed after first contact to shield human thoughts from Temunitu intrusion. "It's comparing our activities against expected human military protocols," Jin whispered, monitoring the probe's scanning patterns. Maya deliberately reviewed conventional battle strategies in her mind, knowing the probe might detect surface thoughts despite the damper. Around her, the team did the same, projecting expected military preparations while their true work remained hidden in specialized shielded compartments. Minutes stretched like hours before the probe finally moved on, continuing its methodical survey of lunar installations. "That was too close," Kai muttered. Maya stared at the retreating probe. "They're looking for patterns, expecting us to follow conventional military preparation. Our greatest defense is that they cannot conceive of a species that would deliberately introduce chaos into battle strategy." She turned to the team. "We have 17 days left. Let's make them count." The day of the challenge dawned with an eerie red sunrise that bathed Earth in crimson light. Billions watched the skies as the Temunitu Armada moved into attack formation, thousands of ships arranging themselves in concentric geometric patterns above the planet. Their formations resembled ancient mandalas, beautiful and terrifying in their mathematical precision. In the hardened command bunker beneath New Geneva, General Santos oversaw the conventional defense. Holographic displays showed Earth's combined fleet, over 500 vessels of varying sizes and capabilities, positioned according to standard military doctrine. The mood was somber. Even with humanity's most advanced weapons, they appeared hopelessly outmatched. "All units report ready," announced Santos' tactical officer. "Defensive perimeter established around primary population centers." Santos nodded grimly. "Conventional weapons are authorized. Nuclear and antimatter options require direct presidential approval." A flash of light announced the arrival of Korzath's psychic projection in the center of the command floor. The Temunitu commander's chitinous form seemed to absorb the room's illumination, casting elongated shadows across the bunker walls. "The challenge commences," Korzath announced, compound eyes surveying the human commanders with cold calculation. "Your species has shown admirable preparation. 16.7% of challenged worlds surrender without resistance. You have chosen the path of honor." Santos stepped forward, face impassive. "We will defend our world." "As all do," Korzath replied. "It changes nothing." The alien vanished, and immediately alarms blared as Temunitu weapons activated. Energy beams of impossible brightness lanced from their forward ships, cutting through Earth's outer defensive line. "First wave impact as predicted," reported the tactical officer, voice tight. "Mars Defense Group requesting orders." Santos followed conventional doctrine, ordering a strategic withdrawal to secondary defensive positions, exactly as the Temunitu expected. On screens throughout the command center, Earth vessels executed textbook retreat maneuvers. At the lunar facility, Maya watched the initial exchange with focused intensity. The holographic battle display showed the conventional forces performing exactly as the Temunitu would predict. "Wildcard units in position?" she asked. Jin nodded, his fingers dancing across interfaces. "All 6 Chaos pilots ready. Special Forces teams embedded within debris fields. Dr. Okafor's disruptors are at optimal charge. The Temunitu are following Battle Plan Epsilon," Kai observed, studying their formation. "Just like they used against the Relian Defense League." Maya activated her secure channel to Admiral Takahashi. "Conventional forces are engaged as planned. Request authorization to initiate Operation Wildcard." Takahashi's response was immediate. "Authorization granted. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us all." Maya took a deep breath and transmitted a single word to her scattered teams. "Wildcard." Across the battlefield, 6 small Earth vessels, previously camouflaged as debris, suddenly powered up and accelerated along trajectories that no flight computer would ever calculate. Lieutenant O'Cake led the Chaos pilots, her ship performing maneuvers so erratic that Temunitu targeting systems tracked multiple possible vectors, unable to establish a firing solution. Simultaneously, Dr. Okafor activated her quantum disruptors, the devices secretly positioned near key Temunitu command nodes by K's infiltration teams pulsed with blue-violet energy. The effect was subtle but immediate. Fluctuations rippled through the perfect geometric formation as the telepathic coordination field experienced quantum-level interference. On the Temunitu flagship, Korzath felt something unprecedented. Momentary confusion as conflicting tactical data flooded his mind. The sensation was so alien that he momentarily froze, unable to process the disruption to the perfect battle rhythm that had served the Temunitu for millennia. "Secondary human vessels detected," reported a subcommander, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Their movement patterns do not conform to any known tactical doctrine. Compensate and continue battle plan," Korzath ordered, his certainty slightly diminished. But compensation proved challenging as Sarah's Chaos pilots executed their impossible maneuvers, appearing in blind spots within the Temunitu formation, firing brief but devastating salvos before vanishing into the chaos of battle. Each pilot followed Jin's algorithm, their movements completely unpredictable yet precise, calibrated to exploit gaps in the Temunitu defense. Maya watched as confusion spread through the alien fleet. Their perfect formation began to show small imperfections, minor at first, then growing as they attempted to counter attacks that followed no recognizable pattern. "It's working," Jin whispered, scarcely believing the data before him. "They're trying to identify a pattern where none exists." "Now for Phase 2, Maya ordered, activating her comm-link to Kai's Special Forces teams. "Initiate sacrificial gambit." Throughout the battlefield, damaged Earth vessels that the Temunitu had dismissed as neutralized suddenly accelerated toward key nodes in the alien formation. The aliens, programmed to ignore disabled opponents, reacted too slowly as these ships, piloted by Kai's volunteers, crashed into critical junctions of their battle network. The explosions were small compared to the Temunitu's awesome weaponry, but precisely targeted to disrupt their perfect coordination. For the first time in the history of the Temunitu Dominion, their battle plan faltered. Jin's eyes narrowed as he studied the battle analytics streaming across his displays. His enhanced neural interfaces processed information faster than ordinary human perception, allowing him to detect subtle patterns in the Temunitu response to Operation Wildcard. "They're initiating adaptation protocols," he announced. "Their ships are switching to localized command structures to compensate for the telepathic disruption." Maya moved to his station, studying the holographic representation of the battlefield. The perfect geometric formations of the Temunitu fleet had begun to fragment into smaller tactical units, each operating semi-independently as Dr. Okafor's quantum disruptors continued to corrupt their hive-mind coordination. "That's expected," Maya admitted. Historical records showed no evidence of the Temunitu employing decentralized command. They'd never needed to before. "But they're learning faster than we anticipated," Jin replied. On the main tactical display, Temunitu weapons found their mark against one of Sarah's Chaos pilots. The small craft erupted in a brilliant flash, its unpredictable movements finally anticipated by the adaptive alien targeting systems. "Pilot Dias is down," reported the communications officer, voice tight. Maya felt the loss like a physical blow, but kept her expression neutral. "The Temunitu are evolving their tactics mid-battle. We need to escalate the chaos." She activated her secure channel to General Santos's conventional forces. "This is Captain Chen. Request implementation of contingency protocol Babel." Santos' voice carried barely restrained fury. "Your wildcard operation has disrupted the entire battlefield, Captain. Now you want us to deliberately fragment our command structure as well. With respect, sir, the Temunitu are adapting to our initial chaos. We need to increase entropy across the battlefield." After a tense moment, Santos replied, "Babel protocol authorized." God help us all. Across Earth's defending fleet, command channels suddenly switched to dozens of different encryption patterns and languages. Orders were issued in Swahili, Mandarin, Hindi, Arabic, a deliberate communication chaos that made human forces appear completely disorganized while actually following a predetermined framework. The effect on the Temunitu was immediate. Their adaptation to chaos pilots and quantum disruption had begun to stabilize their response, but the apparent collapse of human command structure introduced a new level of unpredictability they couldn't process. On the Temunitu flagship, Korzath experienced something unprecedented in his 10,000-year existence: tactical uncertainty. The battle that should have concluded with mathematical precision hours ago had devolved into something the Supreme Commander couldn't categorize. "The humans' battle communication has fragmented," reported his chief analyst. "They appear to have lost centralized command." "Impossible," Korzath hissed. "No species sacrifices command coherence during active combat. Sensor analysis confirms it. Their forces are acting independently, without coordinated strategy." Yet despite this apparent strategic suicide, human vessels continued to appear where they shouldn't be, striking vulnerable points in the Temunitu formation before vanishing into the chaos of battle. "It defies all military logic, all patterns established across 17 galaxies of conquest," Korzath muttered. The Temunitu commander made an unprecedented decision. Deploy the phase disruptors. Target their planetary defense grid. His sub-commander's compound eyes reflected alarm. "Supreme Commander, the challenge protocols forbid direct planetary assault until Phase 3. The humans have corrupted the challenge," Korzath replied coldly. "They fight without honor or logic. We will restore order through overwhelming force." Back in the lunar facility, Maya watched as massive energy signatures bloomed within the Temunitu fleet, weapons systems powering up that weren't part of their standard battle progression. "They're breaking protocol," Kai observed with grim satisfaction. "Your chaos strategy has pushed them beyond their comfort zone." "But at what cost?" Amara countered, gesturing to the display showing Temunitu weapons reorienting toward Earth's surface. "They're targeting population centers directly." Jin's hands flew across interfaces, activating countermeasure Mirage. Across Earth's major cities, holographic projectors activated, technology developed in secret over the past month. False heat signatures and electromagnetic patterns bloomed across unpopulated areas. while actual cities employed experimental cloaking systems that masked their energy signatures. The Temunitu weapons fired planet-cracking energy beams that would obliterate millions, only to strike empty desert, abandoned industrial zones, and ocean expanses deliberately selected as decoy targets. Dr. Okafor looked up from her monitoring station, face pale but determined. The quantum disruptors are reaching critical instability. We have perhaps 20 minutes before they fail completely. Maya nodded, knowing they'd entered the endgame. Tell K's remaining teams to prepare for Operation Spearhead. Contact Sarah. Her Chaos pilots will need to create the approach vector. For what? Amara asked. Maya's gaze returned to the tactical display, focusing on the Temunitu flagship at the center of their formation, the single strike that might end this. Maya stood before the assembled team in Helios Station's makeshift hangar bay. The UES Defiance, a modified scout ship barely 30 meters long, gleamed under harsh lighting, its hull reinforced with experimental metamaterials. Technicians made final adjustments to the quantum inverter mounted where the ship's main sensor array once resided. The plan is simple, Maya explained, her voice steady despite the enormity of what she was proposing. The Defiance will approach the Temunitu flagship carrying Dr. Okafor's quantum inverter. When deployed against their power nexus, it will reverse the energy flow throughout their quantum-entangled fleet. Simple. Kai's scared face showed rare concern. You're proposing to pilot directly into the heart of their formation, past thousands of weapon systems specifically designed to prevent exactly this approach. Not thousands, Jin corrected, manipulating the holographic battle projection hovering between them. As their formation has degraded, gaps have appeared in their defensive screen. My chaos algorithm has identified 16 potential approach vectors, 15 of which end with certain destruction, Amara added grimly. Even the 16th has only a 4.2% probability of success, Jin admitted. Maya studied the projection, where a tiny blue mote representing the Defiance traced an impossible path through the Temunitu defenses, a course no rational pilot would attempt, with maneuvers that challenged the limits of human physiology. 4% is better odds than humanity had a month ago, she said quietly. Sarah O'Keefe approached, still wearing her flight suit from the ongoing battle. With respect, Captain, I should pilot the Defiance. I've logged more hours with Jin's chaos algorithm than anyone. Your skills are needed elsewhere, Lieutenant, Maya replied. You'll lead the remaining chaos pilots in creating the diversion that makes my approach possible. Amara stepped forward, holding a neural injector. This contains an experimental compound that will temporarily enhance your neural processing speed, allowing you to execute the required maneuvers. Her voice softened. The side effects include potential brain hemorrhaging after approximately 15 minutes. By then, it won't matter, Maya replied, strapping into the Defiance's pilot seat. The launch sequence initiated. Through the viewport, Maya watched as the hangar doors parted, revealing the black void of space punctuated by the flashes of ongoing battle. Earth hung in the distance, a blue sanctuary surrounded by the geometric patterns of the Temunitu Armada, now distorted and fragmented by Operation Wildcard. All pilots, final positions, Maya ordered through the comm. Begin Operation Spearhead on my mark. Acknowledgments came from Sarah and the other Chaos pilots, positioned to create the illusion of a major counteroffensive on the opposite side of the Temunitu formation from Maya's approach vector. Remember, Jin's voice came through the comm. The trajectory I've calculated appears irrational, even suicidal. That's deliberate. The Temunitu targeting systems are programmed to anticipate logical evasive maneuvers. Your path will register as sensor error rather than an actual approach. Maya activated the neural enhancer. Her vision immediately sharpened, time seeming to slow as her perception accelerated beyond normal human limits. She felt the ship's controls as extensions of her own body, neural implants linking directly to the Defiance's systems. Wildcard elements. Execute diversion, she ordered, her voice unnaturally calm as the neural enhancer suppressed fear responses. The Defiance launched, immediately executing a series of maneuvers that would have killed an unaugmented pilot. Maya felt the crushing forces at the edge of her enhanced awareness as the ship